Hello, my name is Dr. Stephen Critchlow. I'm a psychiatrist. I've also been a church pastor. And I'm talking about various kinds of love in the context of the overall looking at the subject of suffering. And today I want to talk about the fourth kind of love that is emphasized by C.S. Lewis in the Four Loves. You see, Greek has four words for love, and we've looked at the other three, and now we're looking at the fourth one, which is agape love. And agape was a word not commonly used in the Greek and Roman sphere around the time of Jesus. But they used this special word to describe a special kind of love. And I want to explain that love. Let me do that by first of all telling you a story. This story concerns a rich emperor who ruled in great style in Persia, and his name was Shah Abbas. And what he used to love to do was to disguise himself and go and mix with the poor people. And on a very regular basis, he used to go down into the basement where there was a man who in the darkness tended the fires. And he used to go and talk to him about all kinds of subjects, and they two became great friends. And the man used to share his little lunch of black bread and water with this person who he didn't know was the emperor. And one day the emperor said to himself, I know what I will do. I will go to this man and I will tell him who I really am. And so he went down to the place where he met him, down in the cellar, tending the fires, and he told him who he really was. And there was silence for a moment. And then the man said this. He said, Yes, my lord, I understand. But why did you leave your palace in glory to sit with me in this dark place, to eat my poor food and to take an interest in whether I'm happy or sad? Even you can give nothing more precious to me. You may give others rich presents, but to me you've given yourself. I would only like to ask you never withdraw your friendship. You see, he didn't want the gifts, he wanted the friendship. And the friendship of that sacrificial friendship was very important to him. And you see, agape love is love in sacrifice. It's love that goes the extra mile. It's love that will give itself completely for something else. And you see, the Greeks and Romans didn't understand that kind of love. It's the love that is shown in Christ when he offers himself on that cross for the sins of the world. When he says, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they're doing. He's giving himself fully, freely for mankind. He's the God who came in human form, as it were, disguising himself in human flesh to come and love us and care about us. And in his life, he showed that tremendous love and care. And then he gave himself on that cross. That is the kind of love that the Greeks and Romans could not understand. Count Zinzendorf was a very famous man, and he began the work of the Moravians. And one day he went to look at a picture in an art gallery, and he saw a picture by Domenico Fetti, and it was of the suffering Christ, and Christ was hanging there on the cross, and underneath the picture were the words, all this I gave for you, what have you given for me? And the next day he went to look at that picture again, and then the next day he went to look at it again, and he was a rich young man. And as those words penetrated his heart, all of this I've given for you, what have you given for me? Zinzendorf was deeply touched. And he gave away his lands and basically said, anybody who's poor, anyone who's suffering, anyone who's persecuted, they can come and live on my lands for free. And he started a Christian community, which was very, very powerful in its later effects and affected Charles and John Wesley, of course, who had such an impact in England and other places too. That was all began in a sense through Count Zinzendorf's experience. You see, that's the love that gives itself so fully and so freely. That's the love that goes the extra mile. That's the love that sacrifices. And you see, the Greeks and Romans, they couldn't understand that the Christians would go to their deaths saying, Jesus is risen, Jesus is alive. They would humble themselves. They would do the most amazing things to show that they really, really loved and cared for people. That's agape love. It's the love of Christ. It's the love that gives itself fully and freely. And of course, that love for the other person without any regard as to what benefit we might receive is a love that undergirds so much of what we do in our lives. If that is there, then it will help the other forms of love along. The eros, the philia, and the storge. It will be behind them and undergird them and strengthen them. It will strengthen marriage and make marriage what it should be. And I believe after 41 years of marriage, yes, there have been times when agape has been so important. The other forms of love are there, of course, but agape is very, very fundamental in our human lives and condition. So thank you for listening.